Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the live Q&A with me, Professor Michael Scott. It's December. It's the 6th of December. I hope you guys have broken out the Christmas tree decorations and started decorating like crazy, and that you're enjoying all the Christmas music that we're now hearing everywhere across all the radio stations. I certainly am, and it's fantastic having a Christmas with a little 2.5-year-old who's now enthralled with everything about it. We're here today to answer some of your great questions that have been coming in over the week about the ancient world, and also with a very special announcement. As I promised you last week, I've got a special announcement and invitation for you all as well that's coming in just a little bit. Hello everyone, hello Catherine, hello, so glad that you could join through the Facebook Live Q&A today. Hello. I will do my very best. I have to say before we kick off, I will do my very best to get through this half hour without sneezing, coughing or spluttering at you, but I have managed to succumb to a cold. We've just finished the end of Warwick term, and so you can probably hear it in my nose and in my throat, but I will do my very best not to splutter all over you digitally kind of during the Facebook Q&A. Hello everyone, hello Laura, hello Jeanne, nice of you to join us. Thank you so much for tuning in. So let's get started. We had a great question from last week that we didn't get round to. You got an offer from Warwick Willow. Great, fantastic news to come and study with us in Warwick Classics. Congratulations. Hopefully we'll see you at the offer holder open days that we put on for all our offer holders. That'll be in February and March and April next year. And indeed, so the special announcement I got for you coming up later may well be particularly relevant to you, Willow, thinking about coming on an offer holder open day as well, so stay tuned. We'll start off with a question from last week that we didn't get to. Alison Risley asked, ancient languages leave their traces in languages today. What's your favourite translation of an ancient saying? Hello everyone, hello from Brazil. Lovely, you're here. You're on time from Brazil. My God, tudo bem, tudo bom? This is fantastic. Great that you could all tune in. And you've got your tickets, Matt, for the Frogs in January. Fantastic. Great that we'll see you there for the performance. Don't forget the performance on the Thursday night, the 24th of January, of Aristophanes' Frogs in the Warwick Arts Centre. The tickets are now on sale on the Warwick Arts Centre website. And before that first performance, there will be a discussion starting at about 6:30 between several academics that are both in Warwick and indeed coming from outside Warwick to be part of the event, thinking about the frogs. That's a free discussion that's happening before the play starts, so make sure you arrive in time for that as well. Alison's question about ancient languages leaving their traces in language today. What's my favourite translation of an ancient saying? Well, it's not so much a translation of an ancient saying, but I think one of the sayings that's most surprising that we use all the time, but doesn't quite relate to what we think we might relate it to, is when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So there we are, there we have a phrase that we use all the time, and we might think it's about something to do with the Roman Empire or Roman emperors or anything like that, but it's not. It's actually to do, supposedly, it's saying dates back to the 4th century AD, the early 4th century AD, the first decades, if you like, I shouldn't say the first decades of the 4th century, that's right, it's later 4th century AD, and it dates to the eras of early Christianity in Rome. So after Rome, Christianity had become an accepted religion in Rome, and indeed as the different cities of Italy, part of the Roman world, had their bishops and had their churches established and were getting on with practicing the new religion that had become after 380 AD the official religion of the Roman Empire. And the phrase, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, apparently comes from the discussion between sort of a bishop and one of his lesser clergy sitting in Milan, going, hang on a sec, I've just come from Rome, and in Rome we don't do this fasting on Saturdays thing that you seem to be doing here in Milan. So what's that all about? I thought we were all supposed to be Christians, and it speaks to this kind of ongoing for many decades actually of the first century or so, or indeed longer, of Christianity, even as an official accepted religion, the official religion of the Roman Empire, actually having vast variations in its liturgical practice depending on where you were around the Roman Empire. So people were doing Christianity different in, say, Carthage in North Africa from Rome, but even as this example shows, from between Milan and Rome. And so the bishop in Milan replied to the clergyman going, well, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, and when in Milan, do as the Milanese do. So it's actually a phrase which relates to the sort of confusion around the early diffusion of Christian religious practice around the Roman Empire, when Christianity was actually still hugely varied in the different sects and different approaches and different practices, even between two cities fairly close together within one country. So that's my favourite phrase, Alison, kind of when in Rome, ciao, like kind of thing from your car after a patient visit. Hello, Marco, how are you doing? Hi, Debbie, how are you doing? It's going to be another interesting 30 minutes. Oh, God, the pressure's on, Debbie. Okay, right, well, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So there you go. Next time you hear that phrase, you can say, aha, did you know where that comes from? It actually dates to a conversation happening between two early Christian clergymen in Milan, wondering how to deal with the fact that there were different Christian practices in different towns. Hello, everyone. Hello, Angela. Hello, afternoon. Good afternoon. Thanks, Alison, for that question. So that was great. Another one here from last week from Felix Andreas Bode. Which do you think tells us more about ancient Athenians, tragic plays or comic plays? Ooh, tough one. I mean, we've talked a little bit about tragedy and comedy before, haven't we? And I mean, to compare the two as to what they offer us, or which tells us more, I don't think we can answer that. I don't know if I'd go on to answer it in that way. I think I'd say that they each tell us quite different things about Athenians, partly because of the setup. Tragedy was being performed at the Great Dionysia Festival. That was a festival in March time. That's when the sailing season was fully open. So the people, Athens was brimming full, not just of Athenians, but of people coming from all over the Greek world to Athens for trade or for business or being part of the Athenian Empire. And so when people were crowding into the theatre, it would have been a fairly international crowd in there. So this was really Athens showing off to both itself and to the world. And it's important to note that sort of tragedies don't ever take place in Athens. They're always situated somewhere else. It's someone else's problem, but it's allowing the Athenians and their guests to sort of think through that problem at a safe arm's distance. But if it was a comedy's happening at the Ionia Festival most of the time, which is in January, when it's closed sailing season. It really is just Athenians talking to themselves, and it's very much more where the Athenians kind of wash their dirty linen in public and really kind of take aim at themselves and at their key political figures. If you remember, we spoke about the komodumenoi, those who are made fun of in comedy, being a kind of rite of passage. If you're a serious politician or kind of political figure within the Athenian world, you're going to have been made fun of in comedy. Hello, Lynn. Hello from inside the Pantheon, when in Rome and all that. Linda, fantastic. What a place to be watching the Facebook Live Q&A. I think this might start something of a competition here. I think people are going to have to start telling me where you're watching this Facebook Live Q&A. Can we do better than inside the Pantheon in Rome? You lucky thing, Linda. Kind of, you're going to be able to head out of the Pantheon and sit in one of those fantastic coffee shops. Tazzadoro, you're very near one of the best coffee shops in Rome. Go out of the Pantheon, take a right, go across the square, just up the little street on your right is a coffee shop called Tazzadoro. Stand at the bar and have an espresso there, and that is one of the best coffees in Rome by my books. And you're not far either from one of the best ice cream places, Giolitti's ice cream with umpteen million flavours for you to choose from, and they're all amazing. So have an amazing time there, you lucky devils. So yeah, let us know, everyone, kind of where you are kind of while watching this Facebook Live Q&A, not just the country you're in, but are you in some kind of splendid location within that country itself, like Linda is in the Pantheon. Sarah, yeah, so it was like Private Eye now, absolutely. So Greek comedy, Athenian comedy, should be thought of very much like Have I Got News for You, Mock the Week, Private Eye, kind of very sarcastic and ironic, directly speaking to the political issues of the day. So as a result, both tragedy and comedy tell us entirely different things about the Athenians, partly because of the audiences that they were being created for and the moments that they were being created for kind of in the Athenian cultural calendar. And we've got one more coming in. Joe Horton asked, what's your favourite classics meme? Ooh, this was a tough one. So I've fallen in love this week with the fact that Disney's Hercules is available in GIF form, and pretty much kind of every tweet I'm now going to send out is going to have a Disney's Hercules GIF in it. We've been watching it with my daughter over the past couple of weeks, and she's absolutely besotted with it as well. So we've been having great fun. But in terms of memes, I had to give this one some thought. And the one I kind of loved that I saw, which had me laughing out loud, but it's a bit of a kind of in Greek language joke, is, did you see that kind of viral meme that went around for a long time, and people have used it in tons of different ways, where it's an unfaithful guy walking along hand in hand with his girlfriend, but he's turning around to look at a beautiful girl walking in the opposite direction, and people have sort of set it up and sort of, so that the guy is one thing, or the woman he's with currently arm in arm with is one thing, and then the girl walking away in the other direction is another thing. Good afternoon, James, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us. And that one version of that meme was set up with two Greek words on it, men and de. So one of the girls was men and the other girl was de. Now, any of you kind of familiar with your ancient Greek? Men and de are two of the most kind of famous and important particles in the Greek language. Hello, Christina, how are you doing? Men and de, they translate as kind of on the one hand, on the other hand. You can't have one without the other, really, in a Greek sentence, kind of if you're going to use men and de. And they're used to kind of balance two ideas within a sentence. And you sometimes don't even translate them like kind of on the one hand, on the other hand. They're just kind of inherent in the nature and the feel of the way the sentence works, but they always come together, and yet they are completely oppositional to one another. So the viral meme went round, and someone had put men and de as the two women, with the guy having to sort of kind of move between one or the other. You couldn't be with both, you had to make your decision. So that was my kind of favourite classics meme that was going around recently, Joe. Thank you very much indeed for that question. Do you guys have a favourite classics meme that you have come across? Please let us know. Drop a line to the Facebook page, and we'll retweet and repost on the Facebook page any number of the memes, the classics memes that you might have come across. I'm sure there are more that have used that same unfaithful guy looking between the girls for different aspects of the classical world as well. Perhaps some good ones about Greek myth, something like that. So please let us know kind of what your thoughts are. We've got time for a question that's just come in for this week. Slightly racy one from Susie Howard. There are many everyday ancient objects decorated with satyrs and racy images. Do you think that this is due to ancient Greece being openly liberal as an ancient society, or just a type of bawdiness? Thank you very much, Susie, for that question. So, satyrs. What are satyrs? So they are half goat, half man creatures. So bottom half is goat, top half is man, although their ears can sometimes be more pointed like a goat, and they can have some more goat-like facial features, and they normally have a long beard and sort of odd hair. And they always have a tail, obviously, kind of coming out the back. And they run around doing, particularly on vase painting. So all the symposium vases, or drinking ware, that we should probably say. So if you're the drinking cups for the symposium, and then the different kinds of vases that were created to hold the wine or the water, or to mix the wine and water, or to cool the wine and water, or to then pour the wine and water into individual cups, all the sort of very complicated and individualized symposium ware that you couldn't do a good symposium without. Lots of these have images of satyrs on them, and that is often because satyrs, in only being half man, half goat, aren't completely contained by the normal civilized code of human civilized behavior, and they get up to the sorts of things that animals might do. They run around and do all sorts of naughty and often racy things. So it's not always sexual, but it is often sexual. So satyrs are breaking things, and they're dancing on tables, and they're drunk, and they're disorderly, but you often also do see satyrs with enormous erect phalluses running around doing things. And to the extent that, if we're allowed to say this on a Facebook Live Q&A, 4 p.m. in the afternoon, age warning, anyone under 15 turn away now. One of the kind of vases which kind of strikes you most of satyrs is where there's a vase, and on the neck of the vase there are 3 satyrs that are just simply looking at you, the viewer, masturbating. So I mean, these are the kind of guys that get up to all sorts of things, and that's not even the half of it. They go on to do some sorts of things that I won't even talk about on Facebook Live Q&As. But if you're interested, dive into the works of great French scholars like Lisserague, who's worked a lot on the images of satyrs, and oh, blimey, you could probably find my MPhil thesis somewhere at the University of Cambridge Library, which was all about satyrs as well. So yeah, Mr. Turnus, yeah, absolutely, kind of those kind of figures. So we see satyrs then being part of lots lots of different eras of literature. And the other kind of half animal, half human creature that we talk about a lot in myth, and which again kind of echoes down through the ages, is the centaur. So the kind of half horse, half man, who again has that same kind of problem in that being half horse, half man, unable to contain themselves completely within what is thought to be the civilized bounds of human society. So the Temple of Zeus at Olympia, for instance, had in its pedamental sculpture the Centauromachy, the battle between centaurs and men after centaurs got drunk at the wedding of Pirithous and kind of started raping the bride and the different women there. So yeah, so these kind of half horse, half animal, half human creatures, they're incredibly popular. Now, what are they doing? What are they doing, particularly on symposium drinking ware? Now, you know, that's the occasion when human beings are humans, ancient Greeks, are going to be getting themselves very, very drunk, and they are most likely going to be getting towards the very limits of acceptable behaviour and even themselves going beyond it. So are those images of satyrs kind of on your cups, drinking cups, to sort of prompt that behaviour, to warn you away from that behaviour, to sort of mirror it back at you? I mean, it's a very odd idea, isn't it? Can you imagine being in the pub and you've got your pint or your wine glass or your spirit or whatever's your kind of favourite tipple, and on it is a picture of a satyr doing something absolutely ridiculous or indeed very, very sexual? How's that going to make you feel, or make you feel about the environment you're in? And combine that with, if it's not images of satyrs, one of the other really popular things on Greek symposium cups and ware were just big pairs of eyes. So these eyes just were on your cup looking at you. Again, kind of imagine that down the pub today, kind of if you picked up your pint glass and a big eye was looking at you going, you know, people are watching you. People are watching how you're behaving. People are watching what you're doing and whether you're behaving in a civilized way or not. Giving that slight, even to the symposium where we think about Greeks sort of laying their hair down and getting drunk and reading poetry and philosophy and all sorts of things, even in this environment, there seemed to be a sense that they're being reminded that someone is watching, that they are on show, that there is an expectation of behaviour. What kind of public social services did the Athenians did? Kind of, so in that sense, public social services, do you mean like a national health service? Do you mean those kinds of services? Giza, thank you very much for your question. I mean, there is a public police force in Athens in the 5th century, which is actually composed of foreign slave Scythian archers that run around. We know also that some of the most sophisticated and important bureaucrats within the town that were helping the running of the Athenian city-state were very, very well-educated slaves, for instance. So they don't have anything like kind of a health service or anything like that, and there's relatively little that's organised in terms of what we might call social services, although a lot of the kind of public services that you were supposed to do to contribute to the democracy ended up, by the end of the 5th century, being paid for. So if you did jury service, for instance, that was paid for. If attendance even at the assembly, the public democratic political assembly in Athens eventually was paid for. And we have to remember also that every citizen was eligible by random lot to serve on all the top public councils of the Athenian state. So it's estimated that something like 2/3 of the adult male Athenian citizen population of Athens would have had experience of being on the top governing council of the city at some point in their lives. So we do have to imagine a city in which everyone is much more invested and involved in the city-state than we kind of imagine today in the way we think about that divide between we're all private citizens and then there are those who choose to go into public service. Actually, everyone's getting involved in all sorts of ways. No, right, well we're going to thank you very much indeed for that question, and for the questions that followed it. We've got kind of carried away thinking about satyrs. So it's not just about bawdiness, and it's not just about being an openly liberal society. Actually, satyrs, I think, are there to talk about where is the line of acceptable behaviour. They're there to walk along it, step over it, and just to remind the people of Athens where that line is as a result. Right, we must move on to, we're running out of time already, the announcement. What is the announcement that I'd like to share with you today and invite you to? Well, it's a really, really special thing, and I'm incredibly, incredibly proud that as part of my promotion to full professor at the University of Warwick, the Warwick International Higher Education Academy, of which I'm a foundation fellow, and the Department of Classics have decided to host a professorial inaugural lecture for me to give in February next year. So this is going to be happening on the 20th of February February 2019 at the University of Warwick in the big lecture theatre. And the most important aspect of this is that it's a chance for me to talk about my kind of vision for how the teaching of classics, the research of classics and the public engagement with classics should be done in the 21st century. So I'm hugely privileged and proud and looking forward to that opportunity to share that vision with you in more depth. And the most important thing is that it's a public lecture, which means you guys are invited to come and listen as well. So if you would like, there's a limited number of seats available in the lecture theatre, so get your requests in now. But if you would like to attend, then you must send your reply, request for a seat, and any access requirements and your name and email address to a very special email address itself. Not through the Facebook page or anything like that, but directly to a Warwick email address. And the title of my inaugural lecture is going to be, This is Sparta, the Ancient World Then and Now. And in honour of that title, we have created an email address, thisissparta@warwick.ac.uk. So if you are in the UK, if you are able to get to the University of Warwick on the 20th of February, it's going to start at 5 p.m. So if you're able to get to the University of Warwick on the 20th of February for 5 p.m, then you can be there as part of this really special occasion, help share it with me, and I'd love to see you guys there. So do RSVP to get a seat as quickly as you can to thisissparta@warwick.ac.uk. And an announcement about that and the email address you need to email will be going out on the Facebook page, but please don't request seats through the Facebook page. We need to do it through the official University of Warwick RSVP system. So that's thisissparta@warwick.ac.uk. Will it be available online? It will be eventually. It is going to be videoed, and then there will be a version available online. But if you want to be in the audience and have a chance to ask a question in person, so the lecture is going to be followed by a Q&A, and get to see something of an unusual event at the University of Warwick. Warwick doesn't often do professorial inaugural lectures, and it's a really special occasion when the university comes together across many different departments. So it's a really special thing to be a part of, and there's going to be school students there. There's going to be some of our offer holder students, hopefully Willow. So we were talking about offer holder open days. It's set to time in with one of our offer holder open days, the 20th of February. So if you come on the offer holder open day on the 20th of February, then you will also have a chance to apply for a seat at the inaugural lecture at the end of the offer holder day. So we're going to have some school students, we're going to have some prospective university students, we're going to have some of our own Warwick Classics students that are there currently studying with us, as well as students from across the university and staff from across the university, and lots of the senior university coming along as well. So please, if you can make it, I would love to see you there. The tickets are entirely free. No, there's no cost to attending whatsoever. You just have to email thisissparta@warwick.ac.uk to bag yourself a seat before they're all gone. Right, so we must move on very, very quickly. I wanted to also just make an announcement about a winner, because this week, as we do every couple of weeks, we look at all the questions that I've got round to answering over the past couple of weeks that you guys have sent in, and we pick a winner to win a prize. And I've been reviewing the questions we've done. We've done an amazing number, an amazing range of questions over the past couple of weeks, and they've all been fantastic. But the winner this time is Paul Mangan, who asked, who do you think is the most undervalued person in the ancient world? So congratulations to Paul. You will be winning a copy of my calendar, the 2019 calendar with photos of places around the world, photos that I've taken from places around the world that I absolutely love and adore. So I can share one with you now if you guys haven't had a chance to get hold of this calendar yet. Here we go. What's the month? Where are we? We're in December. Where's December? There we go. December, you can see the Athens Agora covered in snow. This was a photo I took back in, if you can believe it, 2004, in the February before Athens was about to host the Olympics. And we were all sitting there in February when every Athenian was looking around them going, we've never had this much snow in 30, 40, 50 years. Athens airport doesn't own a snowplow. The whole of Athens just shut down. The airport shut down for several days, and everyone was staring around that beautiful city, gasping in wonder at it in the snow. So that's the photo for December. Paul, congratulations. Send us your address, where you'd like that posted to, and any dedication that you'd like written in it, and we will get it out to you. If you can send that to the email address of michaelscottacademic@gmail.com, or indeed through the Facebook page, that would be great, and we'll get that to you. Congratulations. We'll do another prize in the next couple of weeks. Don't forget, the calendar is still on sale. We've got some copies left, not a lot left now. It's a limited edition calendar, so please do get your orders in through Amazon for the Professor Michael Scott calendar. And don't forget, we've also posted the last posting dates before Christmas. They're coming up in about a week's time as well, so please do get your orders in soon. Right, what has been happening around the world? We've quickly got some time to do classics in the news. Well, I hope you've been following, and we've been tweeting about Classics for All, the great national charity that raises money to support the teaching of classics, and schools around the country has been doing a big push raising public funds, a Christmas challenge over the end of the weekend, beginning of this week, and they did it. We did it. They raised £45,000 in public funds that's going to be matched by their pledges and the Reed Foundation. Wow, so we're talking about £90,000 that can go to teaching, and that's mission. The mission is to bring classics to 3 regions, the East Midlands, the West Midlands and the North East. So we're going to be working with them as part of the Warwick Classics Network hub that we work with that we set up at Warwick, and we work in conjunction with Classics for All to help support the teaching of classics in schools around the country. And the aim is to reach 72 schools which currently have little or no classics provision. So that is an absolutely fantastic achievement, and it's going to change the lives and make classics accessible to people, and to share the love and joy of this subject with all the more people possible. What's on? Great exhibition, Tutankhamun, Treasure of the Pharaohs in Paris. If you're in Paris, Grande Halle de la Villette, from March 2019 through to September 2019. So if you're planning a trip to Paris anytime soon, do try and have a look at the Tutankhamun exhibition, Treasure of the Pharaohs. We saw the mask, the death mask of Tutankhamun, when we were filming for Ancient Invisibles Cairo, and it is just absolutely mind-boggling. You think you've seen it 100 times, and then you see it in the flesh, as it were, and it really is extraordinary. Also in Grenoble, if you're in Grenoble right now, running through until the end of January, then they've got a great exhibition called Serve the Gods of Egypt, Divine Worshippers, Singers and Priests from Ammon to Thebes. That's in Grenoble Museum. So that's another great chance to explore not just the Greeks and Romans, but getting outside that into the Egyptians and even further afield. So this is absolutely brilliant stuff. And we've got time. Ooh, have we got time for one more question? Yes, I think we have. Annalie Roberts, are you coming to Australia anytime soon? No, sadly it's not on the agenda yet for 2019, but do hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to get there before too long. And then what else have we had? There was another question that I had marked to get to answer. Lexi. Here we go. Lexi O'Loughlin. Who's the best Homeric character in your opinion? Wow, what a question. Well, who's your favourite Homeric character? I'm sure everyone's got a favourite. I think the great thing about Homeric characters is that none of them are perfect, right? They all have their flaws. You love them because they are not perfect. You love the heroic qualities of the great heroes. You love their frailties, and sometimes those frailties are extraordinarily damaging to themselves and to others around them. Think about the wrath of Achilles, for instance, the sort of wandering tricksiness, sort of undependability, as it were, almost of Odysseus, the almost too noble nature of Priam as a character. They're all absolutely wonderful. Odysseus is probably always going to be my personal favourite. Dating back to sort of when I was a third-year undergrad, I had to read the whole of the Odyssey in ancient Greek as part of one of my modules for my undergrad degree, and Odysseus will never leave me. That complicated man, as his Greek epithet, the polytropon epithet, has most recently been translated by Emily Wilson. Am I going to be in the US, Paula? Paolo? Am I in the US in... Yes, I am. Yes, I'm in the US in April next year. There's an announcement on my website, michaelscottweb.com. If you go to the upcoming public lectures, I'm going to be talking at a conference in New York in April about unknowability. There's going to be more details coming up about that soon, but I believe that's a public conference. So if you're in the New York area in early April, do please come along and see me there and say hello. Thank you. Right, everyone, thank you so much. We're almost out of time, but thank you so much for joining in for this wonderful conference. Two important things to say before we go. So first off, to remind you and invite you to my inaugural lecture. I would love to see you there. Do get in and reserve your seat now, completely free. You just need to reserve and bag your spot. This is Sparta at warwick.ac.uk. And the other thing to remind you is that next week, next Thursday, there will be no live Q&A. I'm going to be out of the country next week and unable to be assured of kind of a good enough internet connection to be able to join you. So we're going to take a break next week, but we are coming back for one more Q&A before Christmas. So we will be back next on Thursday, the 20th of December for a final Q&A. Come with all your Christmas baubles and Christmas hats on, and we'll be doing a nice Christmas themed Q&A then. So send in your questions as usual to the Facebook page, whether it's this week, next week, they'll all be put there so that I can have a good sifty through them and answer some more with you. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys then on the 20th. In the meantime, have a great rest of this week and next week, and look after yourselves in the dark and the cold, and enjoy yourselves getting ever more Christmassy as we move towards the special holidays. Have a great time. Take care. Bye-bye.